Welcome to Podkey Daily News, your fast brief on billionaire taxes, bank shakeups, and rising global risks. California is weighing a one-time hit on billionaires to plug a giant healthcare hole. Citi is trying to prove its overhaul is real, and Washington and Tehran are testing how far controlled escalation can go before it stops being controlled. The biggest state policy story is in California, where lawmakers are pushing a one-time 5% tax on assets for anyone worth at least $1 billion. On a $10 billion fortune, that would mean a $500 million bill, and supporters are selling it as an emergency response to an estimated $100 billion Medi-Cal shortfall after federal cuts. Why this matters is simple. Blue states are being pushed to find new revenue after Republican federal cuts reduced aid, and this is one of the clearest tests of how far a state can go in taxing concentrated wealth. The fight isn't split neatly along party lines. Opponents include Governor Gavin Newsom, Javier Becerra, the California Teachers Association, Planned Parenthood of California, and the California Medical Association, mostly arguing that an asset tax could drive wealthy residents toward places like Florida, Texas, or Tennessee. Supporters include Ro Khanna, Bernie Sanders, and SEIU healthcare workers, who are framing this as emergency funding for care rather than a broad ideological tax rewrite. There is also a more technical argument underneath it. Backers say income-based taxes miss a lot of ultra-rich wealth because of strategies like buy, borrow, die, where people build assets, borrow against them, and avoid realizing capital gains until death. Alternatives are already in play elsewhere. Maine, Washington, and Massachusetts have enacted or considered surtaxes on earnings above $1 million, and Massachusetts says its 4% surtax brought in $3 billion in 2025, up from $2.5 billion the year before. What to watch next is whether California sticks with the asset tax model or shifts toward a high-income surtax that is easier to administer and politically less explosive. At Citigroup, Jane Fraser's restructuring has moved from promise to proof stage. The bank is cutting 20,000 jobs over 3 years, exiting 14 underperforming markets, and stripping out a senior management layer to simplify the business and lift profitability. The backdrop is still the 2020 Revlon payment error, when Citi accidentally wired almost $900 million instead of a $7.8 million interest payment. That mistake triggered 2 U.S. regulator consent orders that still hang over the bank's reputation and stock. Fraser has also defended controversial hires, including Andy Sieg to run Wealth and V's Raghavan from J.P. Morgan, even as both came with reporting around management-style complaints. Why the market cares now is timing. Citi already hit a key profitability metric earlier this year, and Fraser responded by raising the bar with more ambitious earnings goals. The external environment is helping. Bloomberg projects the 5 biggest U.S. banks will pull in about $11.1 billion in investment banking fees this quarter, up roughly 33% from a year ago, powered by mega deals and big IPOs. So the next earnings report is the test. Investors are no longer asking whether Fraser has a plan. They're asking whether Citi can finally perform like a cleaner, more focused global bank in a stronger fee market. In the Gulf, the U.S. has struck Iranian air defense systems, coastal radars, and small boats, saying the goal is to reduce Tehran's ability to threaten commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. This matters far beyond the region, because Hormuz is one of the world's most sensitive energy choke points, and even short-lived disruption can hit shipping costs, insurance, and oil markets. The danger is the gap between public messaging and operational reality. Iran has at times claimed the strait is closed, while U.S. leaders insisted it remained open, even as drones and ship attacks kept happening. That is what controlled escalation looks like right before it becomes miscalculation. Each side signals restraint in words, while taking steps that the other side can still read as escalation. What to watch is whether there is any sustained diplomatic channel running in parallel, because in this kind of standoff, direct communication matters as much as military capability. A broader strategic theme running underneath all of this is how experts are ranking human-made catastrophic risks. The leading categories remain nuclear war, climate change, pandemics, and artificial intelligence, And the key point is that these are not abstract fate of humanity debates. They are governance and system design problems. On AI, one of the clearest warnings is the sorcerer's apprentice problem. If a system is given a poorly specified objective, it can keep pursuing that task in ways people did not intend, which is a concrete issue for software, vehicles, and finance systems. In biology, the same AI tools that speed vaccine and virology work can also lower barriers to engineering more dangerous pathogens. And in nuclear policy, critics are especially worried about integrating AI into command and control systems because automation can shorten decision time and lower the threshold for accidental escalation. The practical takeaway is not panic. It's that diplomacy, human-centered safeguards, and clear stop conditions are still the main tools for reducing catastrophic risk. The World Economic Forum is dealing with a governance fight that goes to its future relevance. Critics, including Larry Fink and Andrew Hoffman, say the WEF's 28-member board is too large to make decisions quickly or enforce accountability, and they want a smaller structure. A related flashpoint is Klaus Schwab's lingering influence. Proposed bylaw changes would remove his right to appoint a family member to the board, which would sharply limit his continuing sway. This is happening while the forum searches for a permanent chair and CEO after Volker Brandel's resignation tied to an Epstein-linked probe. Why it matters is legitimacy. The WEF is already under pressure from populist critics who see it as remote and out of touch, so a messy leadership transition only sharpens the question of whether the institution can still claim global convening power. In Bangkok, a bar fire killed at least 27 people and injured more than 60, with witnesses saying foam ceiling material ignited rapidly and helped the fire spread. Survivors reported blocked or poorly lit exits, and that is the part with the clearest public safety implication. The disaster echoes the 2009 Thai nightclub fire that killed 66, raising the same old concerns about weak enforcement, compromised inspections, and a casual legal environment where venues may stay open through bribery or lax oversight. What to watch is whether this produces actual enforcement changes or another short cycle of outrage followed by business as usual. One media story worth watching for its broader playbook is Elon Musk's promotion of Citizen Vigilante on X, making it free for 48 hours while framing it as censored in Germany and tied to migrant crime. Critics call the film explicit political propaganda designed to weaponize fear of migrants. And the larger point is how distribution itself is becoming ideological infrastructure. Germany's initial refusal to rate the film effectively blocked it, but the later 18+ rating amplified attention through the Streisand effect. Add coordinated meme promotion and audience score campaigns, and you get a model for manufacturing visibility outside traditional studio channels. That matters because it suggests a durable funding and distribution lane for politically driven films, especially when backed by a platform owner with his own audience and agenda. That's the brief for today from Podkey Daily News. The big themes were revenue under pressure, institutions under test, and systems where small failures can cascade fast. This episode was generated by Podkey. Create your own at podkey.fm.